What is up, guys? This is Sane. I do a lot of Pokemon Nuzlocks. Pretty much only stick to Gen 3 just because that's my favorite generation. Emerald's my favorite Pokemon game. I've done a couple more Nuzlocke runs, but really specifically just kind of stick to Emerald and Fire Red. And I'm going to do a tier list of these games because I want to. I know these games are a little bit outdated, but whatever. You know, people still do Nuzlocks. This is Vanilla Emerald. And just a little rundown of the rules I use. I use level caps, so my Pokemon cannot be stronger than the gym leader's ace by the time I start their battle. And I play with no items in battle. So let's just jump into it. I'm not gonna go into too huge detail with all these Pokemon just because there's a lot to get through. And it's just gonna be too long of a video if I explain all of them. So I'll just do a brief little rundown. Unless they suck, then I'll just say they suck. I'm not going to explain why they suck. Alright. Sceptile in A tier. Grass types are really great at end game. Its mid game its early game is really great. Its mid game falls off from Flannery and Winona, but then it comes back strong right after and is really good late game. Good coverage and everything. Blaziken, not quite as strong late game, but a little bit stronger mid game. With level caps, I'm still stuck with a Torchic for Roxanne, so I do not have do not have Combuskin, so it's good from Brawly up into Norman, and then from there it drops and it's completely done. I can bring it back to the Elite Four for the Dark type guy and the Ice type guy chick. And that's about it. That's its usefulness. It ends there. So Swampert goes to S tier. S tier for Swampert. There's like 5 force encounter grass types that you're gonna ever fight. Like 3 of them are your rival. One of them is Winona's Tropius. One of them is Sydney is the dark type guy. Is one of his, like, I think it's like Cacturn or Shiftry, or maybe he has both. And then there's one random trainer with a Roselia. Other than that, you're not weak to anything else. And you've got amazing stats, amazing move pool, amazing typing. Trivializes the first like 4 gyms, and then the rest are very stupid good against Licentate, and then just like neutral against everybody else. Mighty Anna, Intimidate is great. You evolve early, so you've got access to pretty good stats compared to the rest of the Pokemon early game. It's got a pretty good supportive moveset, Intimidate with Swagger and Howl. Bite for flinches. Obviously, it's not gonna hit as strong because Dark is special, but it still hits. It still does some decent damage. And then you can teach it like Strength. So not the most impressive moveset, but very solid early game Pokemon. Holds out a little bit late game because it's good against Licentate and the Ghost type Elite Four member. Linen also very good early game. You get Headbutt at level 9, which is amazing, and then you can get a Silk Scarf very shortly after. So you've got a Stab, Silk Scarf boosted Headbutt, flying around from fast Pokemon that also has good coverage. Also just very good early game, starts to fall off late game. Doesn't hold out quite as well because of Mighty Anna's Dark types and Intimidate, but still just very solid. Also pickups just like fun. I also have all of these guys banned. I should explain these bans. All of these guys are either post-game or they are just a broken legendary, so you shouldn't use them. And then Shedinja is should be banned for Nuzlocke because you can, if you have it, you can just like plan around trainers and then just like make things too easy. So yeah. Beautyfly and Dustox are both really only good for one thing and one thing only, and that is Brawly. At least Dustox has a little bit of use against like Watson and against like Norman because of Protect. They're decent early game, but they're not really good against the gyms. They just like lose everything. They're just so frail and yeah, not very good. So Lombre and Nuzleaf I'm going to rate separately from Ludicolo and Shiftry because those two are so bad, but their evolution's much better. Lombre just has horrible moveset and horrible stats, but once you get to Ludicolo, its typing is so amazing for endgame. Double resisting water. You don't have the greatest moveset, so you're relying on like Surf, Giga Drain, Ice Beam, which is good on its own, and then you have like Fake Out. So very strong late game, but early game, mid game is really rough. Just same thing with Nuzleaf. Nuzleaf's got a slightly better moveset. I think it's like the same moveset, but at least you get like Feint Attack and you learn Extra Sensory later, and it resists Watson, so it's pretty good there. And then Shiftry comes out, and it's just absolutely amazing late game. Grass Dark is so good. Just from like Sunny Days, Solar Beam, Feint Attack, Extra Sensory, and then you're good. Or like Shadow Wall or something. Yeah, you're good. Shifty's very strong. Nuzleaf, very weak. For these two, just use them against like Roxanne. If you have Nuzleaf, use it against Watson, and then put them both into put them into the PC, and just, or not the PC, sorry, the daycare, and just let them do that until the end game where you need to pull them out and use them end game. Swellow's S tier, Guts, early game wing attack. It's super fast. It's so strong. Late game, just go get it burned or go get it poisoned. It's really not that hard. Give Facade from Norman, and then you just got a delete button, a super fast delete button. Immune to all the earthquakes late game. So very strong early game. Of course, don't use it against Roxanne. Don't use it against Watson. And then just like pretty good against every other gym. It just has a delete button option basically from just Facade, Burn, Guts, Facade, like burn it, and then Guts and Facade with Silk Scarf and Stab. It hits so hard. Pelipper is amazing. Water Flying is so good. It can learn Shockwave. It's just like good against a bunch of gyms. Good against everything end game pretty much because of its flying typing being immune to Earthquake, water typing, resisting water, and then firing back with either like an Ice Beam or Shockwave to hit all the water types. The flying types. Good against the Elite Four. Yeah, very, very strong. Gardevoir. I'm going to talk about all three of these guys at the same time. Early game, they are very strong. Mid game, they are very, very strong. Psychic type is just so strong. They're pretty fast. Don't have the best coverage, but you don't really need it. It's just Psychic. But once you hit Liz and Tate and going forward, Psychic types become pretty much redundant and not useful because they're not good against Liz and Tate. And against the Elite Four, there's 2 Elite Four members that are super effective against Psychic types, so they're not good to take against the Elite Four. So, but up until that point, they're very, very strong. Breloom barely edges into the S tier. Either you can evolve it early, and you have a strong fighting type Breloom with a massive attack stat to use against Norman, and just use against a bunch of other things. Or you can just put it in a daycare and level it until it gets Spore, which is like 44 or something. I guess I'll look that up real quick. And then you have the single best Pokemon against the Elite Four, who takes care of the Dark type, the Ice type, and then puts everything else to sleep. Great moveset, great typing, like really good offensive and defensive typing for just Emerald as a whole. Let me check. Shroomish gets Spore at 54, so you're gonna have to wait for a long time. But you just put it in the daycare, and then you have like an absolute monster against the Elite Four. It's super good. I guess maybe A tier. I'll put it in A tier for that, but yeah, just because it's kind of conditional to use, I'll put it in the A tier. But it's probably the best here in the A tier, so I'll put it like there. I'm not really gonna order things too much. I'm just gonna kind of roughly order things. Slacking, easy A tier. This thing's so bulky, it's so hard to kill. It's not that hard to train, you're just lazy, just like give it time. Good coverage, really good stats. Obviously Truon is annoying, but like you get Slack off really early, so you got early recovery. Yeah, return's gonna slap super hard. This thing is just it's so strong, it's so hard to kill. Like there's a reason that Norman's is so scary, because Slacking is just a strong ass Pokemon. Ninjask, his only real use is Baton Pass. Speed boost, Swords Dance, Double Team, Baton Pass is like the only thing you're doing with it. Offensively, it's just not really there. It's just better than these bug types, I guess, but that's better. Exploud is not bad, but his 2 early evolutions are both really slow and really weak, and yeah, don't have good moves, so it's not very good. But once you get to Explode, I can learn some pretty good coverage moves, so someone like I think it's probably better than all these guys. Probably like that. Just because that strategy is like actually kind of good. Whatever. Hariyama, very solid fighting type, strong fake outs. Not the best moveset. Vital Throws, okay. And then Thick Fat's a pretty good ability. Guts is an amazing ability. Sea Swallow, so it's overall pretty good. Very, very, very good mid-game Pokemon. It evolves right before Watson too, so it's really great there. Seeking is actually not that bad. It gets you can catch it with an Old Rod in Petalburg City, and it comes with Peck and it comes with Peck and learns Horror Attack quickly afterwards, so it's got a great moveset against like Brawly and just kind of mid-game, early game. So definitely not bad at all. Probably put it like here. Gyarados, easy S tier. You're gonna guarantee yourself a Magikarp with an Old Rod. Just fishing Dewford Town. There's like 3. There's Dewford Town, right above is 106, right next to it is 107, so you have 3 encounters right there with the Old Rod. And only 2 Pokemon can be caught with the Old Rod, so if you use Species Claws like I do, you're guaranteeing yourself a Magikarp and you're guaranteeing yourself a Tentacool, both of which are very good. Gyarados, Intimidate, doesn't have good moves, but like, just teach it like Strength and Thrash and Dragon Rage, and like, it doesn't need good moves, it's fucking Gyarados. Like, yeah, it's stupid. I could consider banning it. I ban it in my Fire Red runs, at least until the Good Rod. Could consider banning it, but at least just because Watson gives it so much trouble, I think it's fine in just the S tier. And it doesn't have the best moveset. Azumarill's definitely not bad early game. It's great against Roxanne. If you have huge power, then it's working with the subpar moveset that it's got, but not a very good moveset. If it has thick fat, it doesn't really, it's very redundant. Its special attack's pretty bad. So not the best stats, but huge power definitely can make up for it. So not horrible. Graveler and Golem are so good early game. If you can get one right before Watson, it makes that fight really easily. Otherwise, you can get one right after by just rock smashing on Route 111, I think it is. And you pass up a desert Pokemon, but none of the Pokemon in the desert are good. Spoiler. And it just makes the point from like Watson, Flannery, Norman, and Winona are all super easy, just with a Graveler. Whether you trade it and evolve into Golem or not, it doesn't matter. Past that point, it's not good in the end game, so it's kind of like the Psychic types. In fact, it's basically the exact same as Psychic types, so I'd probably put it like here. It does the exact same thing. It doesn't hold out late game at all either, but it's just so strong early game. I'd probably do something like this. Yeah, Nose Pass is really hard to obtain. Honestly, you have to use Rock Smash and Granite Cave, which you probably already getting. You should be getting an encounter in that cave already, and pretty much every other encounter is better than it. And if you have one, it's decent against Norman and it's decent against Winona, and that's about it. So it has like no offense. It's got bulk at least. Delcatty's absolute trash. Just absolutely trash. Crobat's very, very solid. You can evolve at level 23, because you just grind out friendship, like running around, giving a potion, stuff like that. You can grind out friendship pretty well. It's got a good moveset with like Sludge Bomb, stealing for good coverage, really good speed, good bulk to it, good offenses, good coverage. It sucks that it's weak to Psychic because it's just not very good against Lizentate, but it's still immune to Still immune to Earthquake, can fire back with stealing, so not horrible there. And then for the rest of the game, it's just kind of neutral against everything except for Watson. So just watch out for that gym. And it's like Swellow, but bulkier, but not as much of a delete button. So it's very, very good, very strong Pokemon. Tentacruel is probably the top of B tier. Its early game moveset is really bad. It doesn't get a good move until level 25 when Bubble Beam. But after that, it's going to deal a lot of damage. It's got a massive special defense stat. It's really good at walling out water types. Ice Beam is going to be really strong on it. You know, it can fire back with some pretty okay Ice Beams. Sludge Bomb's not going to hit. Sludge Bomb's going to hit decently hard. So its moveset's pretty okay. Typing's okay. If it wasn't weak to Psychic and Ground, then I think it would be in the A tier, honestly. But just being weak to Lizentate and being weak to all of the Earthquakes that are in the second half of the game, is just, that sucks, unfortunately. But it's really good against all the water types, too, just sitting there and tanking all the water type attacks. Sableye has 3 immunities, one being Brawly, and can hit the Ghost type Elite Four member super effectively twice, and can hit Lizentate super effectively. But stats and move pool are just not there. So it goes somewhere in C tier. Probably like there. Something like that, probably. Yeah, that. Mawile is a steel type with Intimidate, and its only good matchup in the game is Norman. Everything else completely bodies it because its stats are abysmal, its moveset is abysmal. And you also have you have a fighting type gym, an electric type gym, and a fire type gym, all back to back, which is just horrible for steel types. And Aggron's not much better. Aggron's moveset is horrible. It is so weak to all of the earthquakes coming around. It is so weak to all of the water types. It evolves super late. Its moveset's bad. It has a couple of good matchups like Norman. It's okay against Winona. It's good against Winona's entire gym until the Altaria with Earthquake. It's good against Drake, and that's about it. So it's a couple matchups here and there that's like really good in, and then everything else it pretty much loses to everything else. So not very great. Machamp and Machoke are very similar to Hariyama. Hariyama's earlier availability makes it a little bit better, but they have slightly better moveset with Revenge hitting really hard. And then they have also Guaranteed Guts, which is really good. Fighting types are great for Norman, and then they are great for the Elite Four, taking care of the Dark type and the Ice type, and then being neutral to the Water type, Wallace and Juan. So fighting types very solid overall. Electric types are amazing in this game. Manectric is great. You get it early. It comes with Thunder Wave. It's got decent coverage. Like it can learn Bite, which is going to be nice against Tate. And just some decent coverage there. I can learn Overheat too, which is pretty fun. And then just electric types are amazing against Winona and amazing against all the water types you fight late game. And Thunder Wave, yeah, they're really good. Plusle and Minun are also a lot better than you might think. They are electric type as well. Stats aren't horrible, and they also have stuff like Encore, Helping Hand, Fake Tears, so they've got some pretty good support moves for when you're in the double battles, and just Encore is a really good ability, or really good move, sorry. They also naturally learn Thunder, so you can put them in like Rain, and they can just start firing off Thunder and kind of make up for their not as high special attack, even though their special attack's still like 85, 95, so pretty good. Magneton is easy S tier. It resists Steel type. It just resists basically everything from Norman. You can't have it at Norman, but it resists Winona except for the Earthquake. It resists Liz and Tate except for the Earthquake. So watch out for the Earthquakes, but it resists everything else. It's amazing against Juan. It's amazing against every single Elite Four member, and amazing against Wallace. Absolutely busted. Absolutely busted. Yeah, I'd put it like that. I'd put things like this. Electrode has better stats than Plusle and Minun, but worse moves. Also comes later. And but it does have explosion strategy. I'm not really sure where to put it between A and B tier. Kind of floats here. Its moveset is just really bad. Like its moveset is just worse than these two, but it does have a little bit better stats. And all you're really doing is just firing off electric type moves like Thunderbolt. So I guess its moveset diversity doesn't matter as much. It does one job and it does it well. So I guess I'll put it in like A tier, like here. Yeah, I'll put it like there. Does one job, does it well. It's good against Winona, good against all the water types you fight later on. And it has self-destruct strategies in case there's just something you cannot beat. Like the Kingdras in the game, or if Altaria is going to sweep you. You can just blow up on it. Volbeat gets Signal Beam, and you can trade it in Fortree City to get a Plusle. So you can trade it to get an electric type for the Flying Gym. So that alone, those two things make it much more useful than everything else in D tier. Illumise can learn Wish and be a decent pivot, and that is its only use. That is it. Horrible Pokemon. Vileplume and Bellossom are both great. You got early game Sleep Powder, great against Watson. Obviously have like a grace period, which is not very good against Winona. Not good against Flannery, but the Sleep Powder is just going to help you catch Pokemon that are having lower catch rates kind of as you get to the second half of the game. And then once you evolve it, I think you should evolve it into Bellossom every single time, just to have have a resistance to ground type, not be weak to psychic. And yeah, just that's basically it. Also, you get chlorophyll, so you can give it like Sunny Day Solar Beam for super fast, solar beams, and super fast sleep powders. And then they both naturally learn Petal Dance, so they've got a pretty good moveset compared to all grass types, except for like Sceptile. So they're like a slightly worse Sceptile, but also better because of sleep powder. So I'll probably put them like right next to Sceptile. Something like that. Like less offensive capabilities, but more support capabilities with sleep powder. Very, very strong. Amazing against all the water types. Amazing from Liz and Tate going forward. Dodrio is just a really good Pokemon. It's fast, has good attack stat. Stab Tri-Attack is great. Learns Drill Peck, so it's got the strongest flying type attack you're going to have. Neutral against everything for when you get it, pretty much. Neutral against Winona, neutral against Liz and Tate. Because the Lunatone and Solrock really aren't throwing rocks at you, so you're not really scared of it. You're immune to all these ground type, all these earthquakes. Yeah, you're just a very neutral and good Pokemon. I've considered putting him in A tier because I think I like it more than everything else here in the B tier. But I'm gonna leave it here in the B tier probably. Tri-Attack, Drill Peck, and Steel Wing is like the only moveset you need, and it's just gonna be pretty solid. If it had a better ability, it would go in the A tier, but Early Bird, Runaway are not really that good. Runaway is useful in Nuzlocke just to make sure things don't faint, I guess. Swallow, I'm going to talk about all of these poison types together. These two, at least. These two are both very bulky. They've got good special defense stats, good coverage moves. Swallow's got a lot more special attack coverage moves and can learn like Stockpile, Swallow, Spit Up, which is a good moveset. Honestly, I really like it. So is Pelipper, by the way. But that's honestly a good moveset. You're scared of all the earthquakes. Same with Muck. You're just scared of all the earthquakes coming by, but having a good special defense stat to soak up a lot of hits from all the water types and then fire back with either good coverage like an electric type move like Shockwave or just a strong stab Sludge Bomb or something is really useful. Wheezing is just straight up better than both of these guys because of Levitate. So it's immune to all the earthquakes and has a good special attack stat too. So I can fire back with like a Thunderbolt or something, or like Rain Dance Thunder, and be pretty scary against like Winona and all the water types. So it's pretty good. Very, very good. Also, Explosion, Self-Destruct strategies is there if you need it. Sharpedo is very frail, so you have to be very careful using it, but very fast Ice Beam is great against Winona. Crunch, Surf, great stab moves. Great against the Elite Four, great against Liz and Tate. Yeah, very, very good Pokemon overall. I'd probably put it like right here-ish. You just have to be very careful because it's super frail. Wailor is a bulky water type with decent coverage, and those are just nice. Water Spout's great. It's good from when you get it. Rollout and Ice Beam, good against Winona. Surf, Water Spout, Strength, yeah. It can learn Earthquake too, which is fun. Camerupt is just not very good in this game, honestly. There's just not the use. Fire types are not that useful in this game overall, and being quad weak to water is scary. Being super slow is scary, so even though it can hit really hard with good moves, it's just not really good offensively. And Mad Cargo is complete trash because Slugma is super trash and it evolves so late, so it would be good if it turned into a Mad Cargo. It could be good against Norman, Flannery, Norman, and Winona, but it evolves too late to be good against any of them, and Slugma's dog shit, so it's down here in D tier. Torkoal, kind of like Camerupt, it's not good to be weak to water and ground. Just fire type is just bad to be weak to water and ground. But at least your defense is really high and you've got like the potential there for the defensive moveset. Kinda. Yeah, it's not horrible. It's good against Flannery and Norman, and then like it's okay against Winona, and that's it. Grumpig's very middle ground. I kind of said what I did have about psychic types. You know, they don't hold out well. And it's not as impressive stat-wise as these guys are, but still good. Still good for what it's got. It's got good stats, good coverage. Sandslash just has absolutely no moveset at all. I'd probably put it like here. It literally just doesn't have a moveset at all. Honestly, it's gonna go like here. And ground types aren't useful for that point in the game. They're just not. Spinda has like Dizzy Punch and some pretty interesting coverage, so I like it probably a little bit better than Exploud. And it's probably like that. Yeah, I'll give it that. Maybe Sableye should come above him. I'm not gonna worry about the order too much. It's pretty much just like the tier they're in, you know. The order can jump around a little bit. Skarmory is absolutely S tier. It's fine offensively. We've been talking about how flying types are pretty fine offensively. And just resisting literally everything except for Flannery. Just don't use it against Flannery. Completely destroys Norman. Completely destroys Winona. Completely destroys Lizentate. Completely destroys like everything in the Elite Four except for the water type gym leaders, which is neutral against. But yeah, it's same thing with Magneton. It's just so good defensively. So good defensively. It's even better defensively than Magneton is because it's immune to all the earthquakes. But Magneton has way better offense, so it's just like here. Something like that. Flygon. Trapinch just evolves so late, and you're stuck with a Trapinch for so many fights that it's going to be down here to C tier. Once you get a Flygon, you can get a Flygon against Juan with level caps, which is very decent. It's just very decent. That's really it. It's not really doing anything special. Its move pool's okay. Stats are pretty good. Typing's not horrible, but also not great. Yeah, it's not doing anything special for you, but it's a good Pokemon, so it'll be in C tier. Cacturne has really good typing, like I was saying with Shiftry, but no speed and no defenses. So if you just get hit by anything, you're just gonna die. But at least you do have really good offensive capabilities for the end game, for like Liz and Tate and going forward. So I'll keep it probably the top of C tier. I'd probably prefer it over Flygon, honestly. It can maybe creep into B tier. How bad is its speed? Let me double check its speed. It's on the edge of C and B. Well, it's a level 32, so you're gonna have against 55 speed. And if it had speed, man, literally if it had speed, and unlike Chlorophyll, it doesn't have either of those. It has Sandvale. Okay, whatever. Yeah. So close to being a B tier Pokemon. Altaria is good defensively, has the potential of Dragon Dance sweeps, but just really not the moveset to support it as well, so it sits somewhere here in the B tier. Probably like here. Seviper, good coverage, but way too slow like Cacturne and weak to Earthquake, so it just kind of gets blown up, so it's probably like right here, worse than Camerupt. Solrock is definitely not bad for when you can get it. It's great against Flannery, great against Norman, and great against Winona. And then its usefulness dies from there, but it did its job. It did its purpose. It can learn Overheat. Pretty good moves overall. I like it a lot. I like B tier. Yeah, probably like here, B tier. Better than Grumpig, I'd say. Probably better than Altaria. Probably something like that. Wishcash, bulky, water type. Water and ground is amazing typing. You get Earthquake really early, although Earthquake is not the best. Just because there's a lot of things that have Levitate or something. But good moveset overall, good typing overall. It's just another bulky water type with good coverage. And we like those. Crawdaunt is the exact same thing as Cacturne, honestly. Great typing, but horrible stats. Just you don't have the stats to do anything with your water typing or your dark typing, and so everything else from there is just bad. Claydol has Levitate and is not horrible against... It's got a lot of defense, so it's not horrible against Norman. Except for the feint attacks kind of scare you away. And it's not horrible against Winona. And it's not horrible against Liz and Tate. And then it's horrible from everything else for the rest on. It gets bodied by literally everything in the Elite Four. So it's... Yeah, it's like here. I don't know. Probably Camerupt's better than that, actually. Like, it seems so good on paper, and then you actually use it, and you're like, oh, never mind, you suck. Armaldo's pretty great. not quite A tier, probably just somewhere like here. It's great against Norman with Rock type and Protect. It's good against Winona. It's fine against Liz and Tate. Not great against Juan or Wallace, but it's good against the Dark type Elite Four member. Fine against the Ice type Elite Four member, and pretty good against Drake too. It's just got really high attack, really high defense, Swift Swim too. Or Shell Armor, so you don't have to worry about crits. So good ability, pretty okay moveset, good stats. It evolves late, which is a bummer, but it's still not bad for what it is. Yeah, it's not horrible. I think somewhere in B tier, it's pretty good for it. You're gonna have battle armor, so you're not gonna have Swift Swim, but you know, not having to worry about crits is pretty great. I'd probably put Solar Rock a little bit above it, but it's not as good mid game as Solar Rock, but it holds out better late game than Solar Rock, so I'd probably put it like there. Cordillera seems good until you look that it has absolutely 0 moves, so I'm just gonna go there. It's better than Crawdon at least, like it's a grass type, so cool. Wigglytuff's just another one of these two. Wigglytuff is just the same as these guys, like a decent normal type with coverage, but it's too slow and not super bulky, so it doesn't really do a lot. Yeah. Melodic's a bulky water type with recovery. Doesn't have good coverage though, so I don't really know what you're gonna do against other water types, but you do have really good stats, so I'll give you that. It's just really hard to obtain. In Ruby Sapphire, it's all these water types are just way better. Castform, not bad. It's kind of like all these it's like all these normal types, but better because its coverage moves are all stab. So I'd probably put it like there in C tier. Its stats aren't great, but you know you can put it in the rain and like have a water type that's firing off thunders against the water type gym leader. So it's probably like the top of C tier. And you can do it into the ice type variant and fire off like stab ice beam or stab weather ball, which is going to be ice type at that point, so that's going to be good against Winona and like weather ball. Yeah, it's got pretty good matchups for the rest of the game, honestly. If its stats were better, it'd jump up to C tier, but I'd probably put it like right above Cacturne. C is for Cacturne and Castform. And Cordelia and Crawdon. The C tier makes sense. Look at all these C's in here. Camerupt. It's hilarious. Starmie. If you could have Starmie earlier against Winona, I think it'd be better. Just because it can learn like Thunderbolt and Ice Beam and be good against that gym. It's amazing against Liz and Tate. But you already have so many water types that are going to be good against Liz and Tate. So I don't think it's anything special. And then in Psychic typing, you already know it falls off a lot harder end game, so I think it's probably like here, honestly. Like it's such a good Pokemon, and it's a water type that can fire off thunders and thunderbolts, so that is good alone. I guess it's okay, so I guess I'll put it above all these water types just for that fact alone. That is not bad against Juan and Wallace, and it's really good against Liz and Tate, but you just can't use it against the Ghost type or the Dark type Elite Four member at all. But it's good against Drake with a fast Ice Beam, so yeah, I guess I'll put it like up here. But it's probably it's okay. Thinking about it, it's probably the best water type in this tier. It could maybe jump up the A tier, just because of moveset alone. Let's put it at the top of B tier. That feels good. Kecleon, massive special defense and good coverage moves and being able to resist things. It's pretty good. It's really not that bad. Give it a shot sometime. It's pretty good Pokemon. Its massive special defense is really useful. And just type change is just fun. Like it's pretty bulky. It's got a lot of bulk to it, and then a pretty okay moveset. Not the best offensive capabilities, but it's got the coverage for it, so it's gonna hit pretty hard. Banette and Dusclops, I don't think are really that good. Ghost typing, their really only good matchup is going to be Liz and Tate, which there's just so many other options that you've got against Liz and Tate, like all these water types, all these other dark types and like grass types that They're like Bennett's Stab Shadow Ball isn't that big of a deal because you're just neutral against the ghost type and then weak to the dark type. So they're very okay. Yeah, I'd say they're very okay. C tier feels pretty good for both of them. Dustclops isn't even available in Emerald, so I can't even rank it. Let me pull it down here. put it back where it belongs. But yeah, Bennett, it's fine, I guess. It's not horrible. Tropius is pretty good. It's a grass type at the end game, and it's immune to earthquakes. That's pretty cool. Its typing is not great, so just watch out for ice attacks. But like, what ice attacks are you really going up against, except for Glacia? Which why are you using it against Glacia? But you can put up a Sunny Day Solar Beam, and that's gonna be fun. It's actually pretty bulky too. Like, it's not that squishy. So offensively, it's pretty good. You can learn Fly, which is right. I think you can learn Fly. Yeah, it's got some good defenses. It's not the best offensive Pokemon, but just put it in the sun with Solar Beam, and it does what it needs to do. It also learns Magical Leaf, so that's a pretty good moveset too there. It learns Body Slam too, so it's got some good moves. And yes, it can learn Fly, Strength, Steel Wing, Earthquake, Sunny Day, Solar Beam. Yeah, good moves. Good bulk to it. Good typing. I like it a lot. It's gonna go up here with the other grass types, but like, I think it's probably better than Ludicolo. Chimecho is a late game Psychic type, even though its stats aren't horrible. It's just like, why are you using a Psychic type at this point? So it's probably like here. I don't know. Sure, that feels good. Like that. Absol is a dark type with a massive attack stat. So it's great against Listen Tate. It's got good coverage. You can learn Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, so it's good against Winona. Swords Dance sweeps are great. Just give it like Strength and Shadow Ball and Swords Dance, and then like Taunt. You can taunt the Ulterior from using Dragon Dance. It's good. It's pretty good. I think it deserves something in B, something like the higher end of B tier, probably like right here next to Mightyena. Dark type is just good at the end game. Ninetales is by far the best fire type you're gonna get in this game, and it's not bad against the Flying Gym, but it's just not useful for the rest of the game. So I'd probably put it like here-ish, I guess. Like, Ninetales is a great Pokemon. It's got great moves. Flamethrower, Will-O-Wisp, Confuse Ray, and like Overheat is all you need, but it's just a fire type in a game that fire types don't work in. Raichu just goes with the other electric types. It's better than, not quite as good as Manectric just because you don't get it early, but it's got better moves than Electrode, so I'd probably just put it A tier. I think that feels pretty good. About Electrode. Golduck's just kind of goes here with the other water types. It's got decent stats. It's got pretty good coverage moves, but you're not doing a whole lot with water types, but at least can like soak up the water type attacks and then fire back with something else like a Psychic or a Brick Break or something fun. Aerial Ace. I typically ban Wobbuffet just because it's so annoying. So I would usually just ban it, but if you don't ban it and you want to use it, it's C tier. It's just really annoying and really niche to use. Yeah, it's really annoying and really niche, but I guess it's easy to plan around, so it's probably the best C tier. Like, it's easy, you kind of know what your opponent's going to attack you with. But then there's some Pokemon that have physical and special, so you could also just guess wrong and then just die. So I'll put it like here, I guess. That feels fine. Xatu is a late game Psychic type, and you know how we feel about those, but at least it's immune to Earthquake, so it's gonna go there. Girafarig is a late game Psychic type. You know how we feel about those, but at least it's immune to Ghost type, so that's fun. So it's not as bad against the Elite Four, but it's still not great. It's probably like here by Ninetales, maybe probably here. Yeah, it's probably like there. It's not a bad Pokemon, but it's just not helping. It's not really helping at all. Donphan, same thing I've been saying against. There's just some types that just are not good late game. Fire type, ground type, rock type. But just Psychic type, they're not, and Ghost type, they're not good late game. I'd say Donphan is probably like Aggron tier. Probably like right there. Pinsir. Resists Earthquake, which is great. It has an identity crisis with moves, doesn't really know what moves it's trying to use, but does have a lot of good fighting type moves, so it's not bad against the dark type guy and the ice type Elite Four members. And then its stats are pretty good. It's got some bulk to it. It's got some good offenses to it. Let me double check its stats. It's not too slow either. It's got some good speed on it, so I think it's pretty good somewhere up here in the B tier. Probably like here with the other fighting types, honestly. And then Heracross is an absolute A tier. It's the best fighting type in the game besides Breloom. It's Stab, Megahorn. It's just so good against the Elite Four. It's like fine against the Water Gym and everything like that. It's just great. I'd probably put it like right here next to Slacking. Right on. Guess what we've been saying about all these ground types, but at least it has a good matchup against Winona. Not being as weak to Earthquake, so I'd put it above these guys. Probably put it like right there. Glalie, Stab Ice Beam is cool against Drake, but it's just so weak. Ice type is just so bad in general. Not as bad as these guys. I'd probably put it like right there. Stab Ice Beam is cool. Its crunch is good. Its stats are pretty okay. So I probably like it here. Maybe here, honestly. Glalie not horrible. Its moveset's not horrible. And it's got 80 and everything, so it's okay, I guess. Like you're running like Ice Beam, Crunch, Headbutt, Sheer Cold, something. I like that. I don't know. You can teach a Shadow Ball. You can teach an Earthquake, which is funny. Yeah, that's it. It's got a fine moveset. Walrein's great. Bulky Water type with Stab Ice Beam. It's either somewhere in the A tier or the top of B tier. I'd probably put it next to Starmie. The more I think about Starmie, the better I think it is, actually. I'd put it probably right there in B tier. It's really bulky. No, it edges its way into A tier. Just because it's not weak to so many things. Really bulky. It's got good moves like Body Slam. Obviously, Stab Ice Beam, Surf. Good moveset. Yeah, very, very helpful for the end game. Clamperl. Okay, the top of C tier. From here on is going to be all these water types that really don't do anything special, which is going to be Clamperl, Huntail, Gorpus. These two are really only good for like baton pass strategies. You're a bulky water type with like not any coverage, so there's not really much you're doing there. Relicanth, it's kind of the same thing, just a bulky water type, but you're also weak to Earthquake. But at least you're like able to fire off with like heads with a rock head double edge to deal some good damage. So not horrible there. Probably put you like above Glalie. Nah, probably put Glalie above you. Course does everything about Relicanth with like absolutely no offensive capabilities, so it's probably gonna go in G tier. Lantern is sick. Lantern is sick. A water type that resists water, hits with stab electric type moves, has access to Thunder Wave and Confuse Ray for amazing moveset. You've got Bolt Beam and Surf. It's got amazing moves, amazing type, immunity to electric, amazing against the entire end game. So good. If it came earlier, I could put it into the S tier. I honestly could. I love Lantern that much. I know its stats aren't very good. Like that sucks. Its stats aren't very good, but it gets around it with It does have high HP, so it's got some bulk to it. But its moveset is supreme. Love Disc is just a fast water type. That fast ice beams are okay, I guess, but its stats are pretty bad. So I'd even put it about below Crawdon. Seadra's like Clamperl, I guess. Bulky water type with not amazing coverage. Not really doing a lot. Probably somewhere like in between Relicanth and Clamperl. Kingdra should be banned. Kingdra should just straight up be banned. It has one weakness, which is only the dragon. It's so good. It should be banned. Like it's the hardest Pokemon to fight in Emerald is all of the Kingdras that everyone has. I think it's the hardest solo Pokemon to fight. And I think you shouldn't allow yourself to get it. But if you don't ban it, it's obviously S tier. Salamence is really hard to get in a Nuzlocke. You have to just rappel through Granite Cave all the time, and you also have to have a Golbat already. And then you can basically guarantee yourself a Bagon in Meteor Falls. And then it's just an amazing Pokemon that amazingly clears the Elite Four. It makes this so easy. So I think you should probably just ban it. And then last but not least, the Regis. Regirock. Rock types aren't very good at the end game, but it's got really good stats. Good against Drake. Good against the Ice type. Probably somewhere in the B tier. I'll leave it like there. Regi-Ice. Massive special defense stats. So it's going to actually absorb a lot of the water type attacks really well. It can learn like Thunderbolt. Or I think it learned Thunder. Maybe both. Maybe I'll check that. Either way. It can fire back at the water type attacks. The water types with a strong super effective hit. Stab Ice Beam is great. Lock on Zap Cannon. Can learn Thunderbolt. Yeah, it's great. It's great at dealing with the water types. And then Registeel is probably as good as the other as good as these other Steel types. Steel type is just so good against the Elite Four. I mean, you're not doing anything against Wallace except for the fact that you can also learn Lock on Zap Cannon. So you're fine against Wallace. Yeah, like you can also learn Zap Cannon, Lock on Zap Cannon, Iron Defense, Stall Tactics with Toxic and Rest. Like you could also learn Thunderbolt. Massive. Yeah, it's probably S tier. I would honestly ban Registeel. No, I think if you got the Pokemon you need to get it and unlock the puzzles, then you're allowed to use it for the Elite Four. Not only is it the coolest Regi, it's also the best Regi. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. I know this was longer than I wanted to be. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Tune into my streams if you want to see some Nuzlocke action. I will be doing a Nuzlocke of the Diamond and Pearl remakes when they come out. And yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. See you in the next video.